They don't need to be on the show. These other 2 people are just like
Hello, everybody, and welcome in. Let me just make sure that I'm audible. I am. Huzzah. Welcome into tonight's episode, the series finale, oh gosh, of The Lost Frontier, which is my Star Trek Adventures actual play that I've been running for like the last 2 years with y'all.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's so good.
That's freaking nuts.
So this is season 3, episode 5, endings start. With me, I've got a wonderful group of fantastic players. Why don't y'all tell us who you are and who you're playing tonight? And yeah, we'll start with Sarah.
Hi, hello. I am Osarix Franco. My pronouns are she, her. I play Taru, our veteran science expert and Vulcan mom aboard. And I also play Blake Finn, whose pronouns are he, him. Taru's are she, her. And Blake is our fresh-faced, kindly engineer man who
Our
does
little
engineer stuff.
Engineer baby.
And it's pretty. He's our sweet engineer baby boy. I love him very much.
Next up, we've got Wasa.
Hey everyone, my name is Wasa. I go by all of the pronouns. I'm playing Admiral Nalani Salen, who is the Admiral and sort of, not really, but kind of, yes, a spy, and Dr. Savaren, the ship's doctor. We all use all the pronouns.
Every pronoun.
Every pronoun.
And AJ.
Hi, I'm AJ, also known as Husha Kid, and I am playing Ambassador Dr. Tixel Tix. Just a warrior ward, worried about their partner, finally can find them, hopefully okay, and there's no one else there that will be any problem to Dr. Tixel Tix. None at all.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And I also am playing Uthru Zerelquith, the son of said Vulcan mom, and resident flyboy.
Okay. And I guess yeah, I should introduce myself. Hi, I'm Anita, and I run this channel, and I am playing everybody else. Normally with us tonight, we would have the wonderful Milan. Unfortunately, they are not able to make it this evening. They've just got some issues with their setup, but they have informed me of how they want their characters' ends to sort of shake out, which is it's good. I'll just do my best to honor those wishes, and we'll move along, but we do definitely miss them. I play every NPC in this game because I am your game master. I am Q, and I have played Q. But I guess without further ado, who wants to start us off with a little recap, a cheeky recap for a point of momentum?
Ooh.
I mean, I do also play every enemy, Wasa. Borgs.
All the goods.
I'm
And the
spending
bads.
8 points of threat, and the Borgs
I'm
fly,
all the
fly
bad
have
guys.
I can do the recap. So
Okay.
when we
Yeah.
started, we kind of backtracked a little bit. So Taru saw her partner Savan disappear. Ren reported that Savan had vanished in front of their eyes as well. And Taru set herself to trying to figure out what could have happened. She checked for tachyon radiation and confirmed that there was a surge of radiation and that there were a distinct pattern in the pulses of the radiation. Similar, like strong, weak, weak, strong. And it seemed like the power was increasing. Filled with emotion, she then set off to find her son while Ren checked the area of the explosion because there was an explosion on the ship. Somebody had planted a bomb, which was like real not chill of them. And Ren went to investigate and make sure that nobody was hurt. On the way there, they saw Uthru, And Taru and Uthru had a conversation where Taru's like, hey, I'm going to go find your other mom. And they talked about feelings just a little bit. Nalani was able to talk to her mentor or a fellow spy and was given the research files from our original mission aboard the Solstice with the understanding that something deeper is going on here. And our arch nemesis, Idris was involved. Like, we knew that, but now we know that. And Tick searched the poem lines that we had received trying to figure out what the heck it was about, and discovered that there was a secret line of code based on page numbers from a book that Nara had given Tix. When Taru reached the shuttle bay where everybody had kind of planned to meet up, lo and behold, she discovered the evil Idris had absconded with her kid, and there was a really intense stand down. And eventually, Uthru stabbed the guy sprayed the guy with a hypo spray. And Nalani sniped from afar, negating the threat. But during that exchange, we learned that Uthru intended to go into the anomaly to change his fate and use the timey-wimey weirdness to make better things turn out for him. Eventually, we decided, hey, we gotta go back to the Typhon Expanse, and we gotta go into that weird anomaly because shit's going down in there for real. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the message that we got when we decoded that the extra line of code, was from Nara, and it said, I'm here. We need to stop this once and for all. We need to set things right.
Correct.
We handed Idris over to Starfleet because he's a real bummer, and we set off into space, the final frontier, to discover what future, past, and present hold for the crew of the Antioch.
The Lost Frontier, even.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So with that, we pick up on
Momentum, please.
Yeah, momentum. You're right. You get your shiny point of momentum. With that, the camera shifts to the USS Antioch, leaving space dock from Starbase 5. The ship pulls away, and Captain Rubin, sitting center chair, is... Are we ready to take us out?
Ready as we'll ever be.
The chief engineer calls up. All stations report ready down here in engineer. We're ready to engage the slipstream drive. Actually, let me just double check what that's called, because I know that it's not actually called the slipstream drive. It's called something else, but my brain is fried after a long week. Let me open up the ship character sheet. Right there, USS Antioch, a Vesta-class starship. All stations report ready, sir. We have the burst drive ready to go. It's all up to our pilot now. All right, Ensign Zarelquith. You do the honors. Lay in a course.
Course laid. Engaging thrusters.
All right. Punch it. I'm going to ask you to make us a roll for the night. We're going to make a...
Oh, boy.
This is definitely going to be... Because it is a burst drive. It is literally the go fast button for this starship. I'm going to ask for a... let's do a daring con check.
A daring con.
Daring plus con.
And okay. Whoop. And astronavigation, flight control systems.
Both apply.
Cool. That is 4 successes, a 2 and a 4.
2 and a 4.
Nice.
Okay. There is like slight. You said 4 successes.
4 successes, yeah.
Okay. Difficulty was 2, so that's 2 points of momentum, y'all.
Nice.
There's like the slight rattle as you can feel the ship. It's almost like a plane before it's about to take off. You know that feeling where you can feel the engines begin to prime. You can feel that small hum and slight vibration that even makes it through the inertial dampeners in the deck plating. And there's that almost tension before the ship launches forward at immense speeds as this is a burst drive.
Is Taru in the bridge when this happens?
That's a good question. Where is Taru?
I feel like she would be. I don't imagine why she would be anywhere else. So, like, if it's allowed and all of that, yeah, she would absolutely be at the bridge.
Absolutely. If you want, you can take your science. You can take the science station.
Yeah, that's exactly where she'd be.
I think if you're looking at Uthru, you see like him like grab whatever like handles or whatever, and
so
it's just like
it's just a flat screen for the control panel. Basically you play your figures sort of play across this Alcar's screen. You lay in the course, you press the button, but like there's still that like moment of tension after it plays where you have to like almost hold on to the sides of the console. It's because it is just a flat screen, but you feel like this almost instinctual urge to just grab something, anything.
I think like as you see it, like instead of like usually what people would do would be tensing up and stuff, you see Uthru just like full on relax. And it's just like it's just like, oh yeah, he's where he needs to be.
All right.
That's my son. That's my boy.
Boy.
The ship settles at this very fast pace. The inertial dampers kick in, and there's this small moment of calm. As is there anything that you all want to get done before you reach your destination?
Dr. Wren was going to help with the I think we were making an anchor.
Mm-hmm. For the tachyon radiation and everything.
So that you could
Correct.
try and pull Savan back,
Mhm.
creating some sort of a tether.
Mhm.
Okay. This is going to be. No, go ahead.
Blake would also be working on that as well.
So we've got a doctor, an engineer, and is Taru also assisting with this? Or do you want me to get the science officer that I had rolled up previously?
I feel like because Taru shared that information with the science officer, so I feel like that makes more sense. Like she's kind of like, you guys have got this sort of a thing.
That was, I believe that was Lieutenant Choi.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Lieutenant Choi is happy to assist. Who wants to lead this task? Doctor or engineer?
This is more an engineering task, yeah.
Hey, yeah, I am happy to do that.
Mhm.
You'll see Blake who has I imagine it like he's got the ship's computer like pulled up. He's at like a station and everything, and next to him he has like a pile of doodads that he kind of looks at every once in a while as he's kind of muttering to himself, comparing the schematics and like checking in with Ren and Choi to, now what do you all think? You think this makes sense? I mean, you could check my numbers. I would really appreciate it.
I mean, yeah.
Numbers.
let me just make a roll for Choi.
Oh, I should roll too. Roll for smarts.
What would you like me to be
Listen,
rolling
I don't
for
know
this?
if I can make heads or tails of this, but the science seems sound. I mean, I'm gonna say make me a. This is going to be a control engineering check.
Okay. I need to roll under a 12.
And I'll assist with Choi's reason and science.
And I will also.
You can assist with medicine or science, your choice.
Mm-hmm. They're the same, so it's all good. Reason and science?
Reason and science or reason medicine.
Oh, and it's just
Yes,
one
the
dice,
same.
correct?
Yes, one die to assist. This is going to be a high difficulty. This is going to be difficulty 4.
I only got a success.
Okay.
But I kind of don't want to, but I kind of do at the same time. I have bold engineering. Whenever you attempt a task with engineering and you buy one or more d20s by adding threat, you may re-roll a single d20.
You know what? It's the finale. I'll allow you to, if you want to buy an extra die for this roll. Absolutely, you can.
Okay, I'm going to do that. Oh, it's worth it because I just rolled a freaking 1.
There
Hell
you go.
yeah.
I was gonna tell you, don't let Anita fool you. Anita's like, yes, give me the threat.
Give me the
Oh, for the
threats.
finale, yeah, you can do that. No.
I'm
They
not
don't
starting
threat.
you out with 8 threat right now. What's one more?
Listen, we are going hard.
Don't let them fool you. This is
What
they want.
did the doctor roll? 1 success?
1. Yep.
That's how many successes from Blake?
So I rolled a 1. Does that count? And I've got that counts as 2, so I got 3 total.
Okay. So if you want, there was one dice that failed you.
So I spent the momentum,
Because
or I rolled my 2.
Yeah, because you bought that extra die with the momentum. If you want to re-roll that failed dice just to see if you can bank any more successes, by all means.
Oh yeah. I'm not shitting you. That's another 1.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god. How did that happen? I'm scared. I don't want to touch them anymore. We're not using those dice anymore. We're going to take a picture because that's fucking nutty as hell. And then I'm not touching them anymore.
So that's 2 1s. That's 5 successes.
2 1s and an 11, yeah. And I needed to be under 12.
Okay, so that's 5 successes from Blake, 1 success from Dr. Sava for 6, and then Choi rolled a 13, which is above their reason and science. So that's 6 successes still.
Holy shit.
Difficulty was 4, so you do get 2 more momentum.
Hell yeah.
Y'all are just banking it up right now.
Brilliant work.
Okay. You create this device, this anchor point that is supposed to pull Sylvan back using the almost heartbeat-like tachyon wave that is emanating from the Typhon expanse. And the closer that you get, the stronger the signal is. And you're able to tap into that. You're able to tap into that in such a way that that you recognize that it is almost like an ebb and a flow. And you go into one of the high points of the wave, and you triangulate on that, and you start beginning to fine-tune this signal so that you can almost level out this. And where exactly is this experiment taking place?
I feel like, Wasa, correct me if I'm wrong, like if you feel differently. I feel like it's either in the science lab or somewhere down in like the engineering area, like in a corner surrounded by crates kind of a deal.
Yeah, I was thinking similarly. The science, it depends on the tools, I would say, and like the amount of space. Like, do we get a gauge that like we need a lot of space? Because then big
Yeah,
space, probably crate at like where the crates are, the engineering docking bay
I
kind of
would say,
thing.
yeah, I think I'm gonna push for the engineering area, right? Because it's like it's almost like we're kind of creating a new device, so to speak, like
Mhm.
that needs its
Yeah.
There's a
own
number of engineering
space.
labs that you can.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that's where I would put it.
Okay. All right. So you're able to create the signal, you triangulate it, and then almost like fading back into existence, you see an Andorian.
Um.
Hey,
Uh.
um,
uh
yeah? Oh, you're that doctor I was talking to, right?
Yes, Dr. Ren. Do you remember what's happened over? Do you remember what happened last we spoke? And a little after that.
I felt real weird, and then I wasn't anywhere, and then I was in my ship, and now I'm here. It seems the fluctuations might be not pulling me, not necessarily through space, but also through time and space. It might be a little strange. I don't know. Is this another one of those times where I'm synchronized?
I believe so. Is Finn a ensign or
he
lieutenant?
is a lieutenant, junior grade.
Okay, I believe the junior lieutenant here has helped with creating a synchronization anchor for you.
Okay. And Savan actually goes and inspects it, uh, and rolled a 4 and a 2. Oh,
Nice.
this is really good work.
Yeah, you don't have to say that.
No,
We're
no,
just
seriously,
following-
like this is actually pretty
that
inspired. I wouldn't have thought of this.
God, the schematics that we were sent, it required some the power needed to be pulled from a certain source, and I figured
Oh,
we
I
could.
mean, you tied it into the ship's transporter buffer. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I've got some experience with transporters. I felt like it could, provide us with that extra kick that we might need and keep
Oh, I mean,
keep
yeah, and using my
interference.
DNA pattern that you already have stored in the system as like a way to triangulate on the signal.
That was 100% Dr. Savaren there. Could not have done it without him. Truly, this was a team effort. I cannot stress that
Oh,
enough.
No,
Savan.
Oh, he's so cute.
uh, and she sort of like, may I?
Yes. Yeah. Of course. Of course, you can.
They sort of tap a couple buttons on the console, and okay, that should stabilize me for a little bit. There's one small problem with this though, is that if this machine goes off, I go away. It's not a permanent fix,
Right.
but
Right.
but it's a good one. It's real good, and the fact that I'm
mm.
here right now and I can help is so much more useful than just not being corporeal. Being incorporeal sucks.
You are here, but
It's a weird kind of okay. So I kind of, ever since I had the experience in the Typhon Expanse, I don't know if you realize this, I kind of got stuck outside the ship in an EV suit. And there was a whole mess of tachyon radiation. So I kind of experienced multiple timelines concurrently for a while. It's real weird. So I was not in existence in this timeline, but I existed in another timeline on another version of the Antioch. So that's kind of how I got to my ship, is that I saw my shuttle parked in the bay, and so I went to it. But then I got shifted back and I stopped existing in that timeline, and then I was here, and I tried to tell the other Antioch that like what we could do to help, and it's a mess. But I think I
Which
shifted between like 5 or 6 different Antiochs between here and there. Stop existing in one, start existing in another, and so on and so forth.
do you remember what you were trying to tell me before you disappeared into another timeline?
I think the words were, "Oh no, it's happening again."
Okay.
But then I said that to another version of you, but it wasn't really you.
Oh.
It was another doctor. A Dr. Chell. I think I was
Dr.
in
Shell
a
is the
is the actual
is
CMO.
out. Mm.
My the fireworks. Anyways, do y'all hear that? Okay, good. So Dr. Chell is the current CMO of the ship, and the sorry, the idea that Sylvana's sort of trying to get across is that the timeline that she went to was one where Chell went instead of you.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Got you. I'm just going to check you real quick. But if you want me to let Taru and Uthru know that you are here, I can do that also.
If you could, that would be great. I'm just gonna close this.
Lost in space. Left to our own devices.
I was just telling you to vamp.
I mean, age is
And
crushing it.
yeah. Dr. Ren will let the two know. Dr. Ren here. Taru, the device was a success. We have Sylvan here.
I feel like you'd get a message from someone else in the bridge that just is like, she's on her way.
No, go ahead.
While they're kind of like having their conversation and Blake was listening to Savan kind of describe what was happening to her and the importance of this machine that they've built to kind of keep her here, he would be back looking around it. No, I don't know. But if I rerouted it through here and like muttering to himself, like trying to like make improvements even now, like understanding its importance.
Okay. So Von tapped a couple buttons to make it a little bit more stable. There's no risk of it turning off at the moment. It's stable, but it's not permanent. In fact, I am spending 2 points of threat to add that trait to it. Is that it is
Gotcha,
it
yeah.
is a temporary fix. It's not a permanent fix.
Got it.
I'd say that at that point the doors open. Hey.
No words, only move as Taru rushes over to Savan and just hugs her. Like just grabs onto her in that like desperate kind of way. Like she's drowning and Savan's the one that can save her and just holds her as tight as she can.
And Savan just squeezes back. I'm just going to do a real quick look at something. Tags. Notes. I think it was. Right. Pink, orange, pink.
And she'll feel True just kind of tighten and like burrow her face down like into Savon's shoulder as she says, I really need you to just stop exploring so much of reality without me.
Next time I'll try and take you with, I swear.
And True kind of takes a step back with her eyes misty and looks around the room at everyone. Is the solution permanent?
Temporary.
How much time do we have?
Oh no, I'm here. I'm here as long as this machine's on. That's the problem. Is I can't leave the ship.
I'll be honest with you, my darling. I am perfectly fine with that.
It's good to see you.
True just kind of nods and awkwardly looks at the people that watched her express
Ren's
emotion that she doesn't really know. And she's going to we've understand there are pulses radiating from the expanse. We're heading back there now. Is there anything that you saw or learned while you were gone that could help us with resolving this? Any clues as to what's happening?
Oh, I mean, the other Antiochs were also experiencing the same timeline dilation, the same pulses, the same waves throughout, ripples throughout space, time, reality. Something keeps making subtle alterations and changes.
I know that it would be difficult passing through them, but did you notice a pattern to those changes? As were they seemingly random?
Oh,
coincidental?
Every time I shifted, something was different. I mean,
Right.
There was one where you were the one that took the plunge instead of me. And that one was confusing. I mean, they're all trying to solve the problem at the same time we are. So at least I've got them set on the right path. If this is going to sound crazy, I mean, if I can liaise between the different Antiochs. I can have us all coordinate our efforts.
And are we sure that we would be able to return you back here with this machine?
Worked once.
Don't worry about it, ma'am. I'll make sure that the machine runs to the end of time. I guarantee you. And he'll kind of kick the bottom a little bit and sorry. It was mostly for dramatic effect.
No, you actually got that real sturdy.
Blake will blush a little bit again, at getting a compliment from his hero, but will say nothing. Taru will kind of look at Savon and the machine and back to Savon again. Do you have to go alone?
I think I'm the only one that can. I mean, there's a couple of the realities that I'm not gonna lie, there's a couple of the realities that aren't necessarily the safest.
Do you retain items upon your person?
Yeah, kind of just what I've got on me. Clothes. Comm badge. It's interesting because when I shift in reality, I become the version of myself that exists in that reality.
I see.
Everything, everywhere, all at once, fans. Hi.
I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Also, there's an episode of TNG that does this too with Worf.
I would like to spend a point of momentum to ask a question.
Absolutely, you can.
Understanding, like, Taru, I imagine, vaguely remembers when we kind of did a slower version of what Savannah is experiencing, right? Where we kind of were shunted into different realities where we experienced different versions of our own lives. Would there be a way to not necessarily need to send Savan like through that ripple, but more like open like a communication box, I guess, if that makes sense.
Open, like actual open lines of
like
communications instead of
like a rather than sending like an individual like messenger, almost like a PA box, right? Like if these different realities are classrooms in a school, is there a way to kind of connect them with a PA? Utilizing, like, obviously, like, Savan is the key to that because she's been in all of them. But, like, rather than, like, sending her physical form through everything, just kind of using, now that she's anchored, using that line through, like, realities to connect and use her as a hub.
Oh, that's an excellent idea. I love that. Absolutely. With
Oh, yeah.
With the know-how of the group assembled here. Absolutely.
Sick. I think Taru would look at the machine again and kind of ask, because she knew the part of it from like the tachyon radiation side, but I think she would turn to Savan and then explain to me how this works, and like kind of get the quick rundown. And go for it.
Blake would probably explain it all.
Yeah. Try me.
I can techno-babble my way through it. So the signal booster itself has it is routed through the transporter system in order to hook onto Savan's existing DNA signature that has been moved through the transporters. It is so the DNA scan was also provided by Dr. Wren. That hub is hooked up to a sort of it is also hooked up to the ship's sensors. So the ship's sensors is doing a continuous feed of the pulse as it emanates from the Typhon expanse, and they've almost triangulated it using the DNA as like a hook to pull Savan back through realities to this point.
Gotcha. I want to use her Taru's talent. Did the reading. You absorb information quickly and know how to put it to good use.
Heck yeah.
So as she receives this technobabble, she turns to Blake and Savan and goes, I'm going to suggest that we reverse engineer parts of these components. So instead of it being a singular point pulling Savan back, we actually project her from this point back into those transporters. Becomes less of a received signal and more of a sent signal from this location.
Oh, we're compounding relativity. That's great.
And then she just Taru very like turns to Dr. Wren and like raises an eyebrow like pleased and goes, science is fun.
Some people do crosswords and some people do theoretical advanced physics. That's fine. I'd love to help. I have discerning scientific mind.
Absolutely. I love that. Use all your talents.
Yeah.
I think that like as this like conversation is happening, like Ren is like, I'm a doctor, I'm doing doctor things, and I'm very like caring and well behaved. But then it starts to go into like advanced physics kind of sort of thing, and it's sort of like the
Mhm.
quiet excitement. It's like, this is a very serious conversation, and I'm being very well behaved. But then it's like, oh, we get to play with a theory and turn it into a real thing. Please let me help.
Absolutely. So to create this almost communications hub through Savan, this is going to be a reason. No, this is going to be a. Let me just have a quick look.
Would also Dr. Ren know if like Tix is a little bit more in tune with this sort of like timey-wimey stuff, because like Tix was
Potentially.
the OG doctor.
Tix would have situational
I
knowledge.
was gonna say that I think actually Tix has shown up and has been quiet and is kind of leaning on the door, just kind of like like the portal to the doorway, and just waiting, because is respecting that Taru is sciencing out right now, but
We have a process.
but Tix does need to talk to Taru.
How do we? I'm fine either way. Do we want to do the talk and then like do the thing, or other way around? Do the thing and then talk.
I think like Will, like if they see a moment that you are like taking like a moment in between, like in the midst of doing your task, is going to ask to talk to you.
I think Savan is going to notice that Tix is in the doorway, sort of tap Taru on the shoulder.
Gotcha. Oh, hello, Tix. Sorry. Do you require something?
I need to talk to you, Taru.
We'll work on the DNA splicing, and then
the engineers are engineering over in this side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blake just is doing that like little kid thing where it's like, oh shit, don't look at her, she'll notice you. Oh shit.
Too bad.
Shit, this is happening.
It's too late at this point. I think Savan's like pulled off her comm badge and is like has set it down and like, well, this is also transported with me throughout multiple realities, so maybe we can also use this to as like a signal booster.
Yeah, actually, if you flip this around, he'll just like awkwardly like, but like you can tell that he's like, but you got this, man. Taru will walk over to Tix. What was it that you wished to discuss?
You're rapidly approaching the Typhon Expanse, but we need everything on the table. What are you not telling me, Taru? What's going on with you?
I'm afraid I don't understand the question.
Pulls up the data of the scans that I did when I was checking up on you. Pointing to the kind of lingering. What was it? That it was like a lingering presence, or like
it's a lingering tachyon radiation presence. Similar, probably from just close exposure to Savan for many years.
Just like showing the scans of this. It's like, how has this been affecting you?
I had not realized that this was in place, though. Now, I suppose it would make sense if there was something anchored to Savan after all this time. The exposure alone would create some sort of contamination. I'm sorry, Dr. Tix. I understand that there is something specific that you would like to know, and I would like very much to answer your inquiry. I don't do well with subtext. You know this.
How has this been affecting you, Teru? Because I know you, Teru, and you have grown over these years, and I'm proud of you. But there's these moments that you go dark a little.
True will look back at where her wife is happily engineering and like joking with like everyone in the room, and it's kind of that light beacon moment. And we'll reach over and grab Tix by the arm and take a couple of steps like behind a crate, before turning and looking at him. It is hard for me to determine how much of this is from the radiation itself or merely an exposure to a fear I thought that we had left behind long ago. I am not sleeping well, and I have not in some time. I have nightmares. Memories? I'm not sure. When Savan no longer remembered the details of our own reality, I felt a hole, a void open up inside me, and from it came rage and fear. It has been some time since I went through the Kolinar, and my current lifestyle has not encouraged me to keep up with those things. I will admit that this has been challenging, Tix. Of all people, you understand.
Of course.
I cannot watch the people I love disappear in front of me. Not again.
And I feel like you are still holding on to Tix's arm, and it's kind of like squeezing a little while you say that. And Tix is gonna take your hand. Yes. We have been friends for so long, Teru. And yes, I know what you're going through. That's why we have each other. That's why I've always been there for you whenever you need it. We didn't lose Savan then. We're not going to lose her now. We're not going to lose any of us now.
No one left behind.
And it's just kind of like, just like our hand on your shoulders, like, us Solstice folks need to stick together. Because you are, no matter what, Drew, no matter how much you think I'm going to annoy you, you're my family.
I know. In the interest of openness and I will admit to you, Tix, I don't know what awaits us in the expanse. I'm afraid in my nightmares, Harrow taunts me. I see him in the corners of my vision, lurking, and I cannot help but feel that he is somehow still, in some reality, questing after the destruction of everything. If he's what waits for us in the expanse, I will do everything in my power to annihilate him from this reality.
He has hurt us tremendously. I understand what you're feeling. And I will have your back. 100%. If Harrow, if these visions, these lingering visions of him are actually a predecessor of what is to come, that is not a burden you should share alone. But afterwards, when we all go home, I think it's time to call up Counselor Ari again.
There's a
Perhaps.
sparking from the room, and shit.
It's all right. It's all right. I got it. True will kind of like seemingly not engage with your last comment before giving your arm like another squeeze, and stepping back around the crates to rejoin and see how far our weird science project has come along.
There's a piece of technology that's now currently smoking.
Blake's kind of stomping on it a little bit. It's fine. These things do it. It's something to do with the alloy. Just once it starts burning, it don't stop. It's fine.
It's almost like making thermite on ship. It's weird. The fire suppression
believe that
systems
we've-
kick in, and it like makes a little containment field and snuffs it out.
True kind of like looks at the chaos and do we feel like we've made progress?
I think so. Hi, Raiders. Welcome in.
Oh. Do you require any assistance from me?
I mean, if you want to double check my math.
Of course.
Dr. Tix, if you'd like to help me with the DNA sequencing, just to make sure.
Absolutely.
I got so many D20s. You just tell me what I need to roll, boss.
So many goddamn D20s already.
Make
So
me
many.
a insight plus science, Taru.
Okay. Let me make sure I'm looking at the right. Okay. Insight plus science. Okay.
Mhm.
I rolled a 2 and a 9.
Do you have what focuses do you have? Would any apply?
I was gonna say, would physics or temporal mechanics work
Both.
as a focus here?
Both would apply.
Perfect.
So that's 3
Perfect.
successes.
Nice.
Okay, yeah, you needed 3. So that does no momentum from that, but you're good to go. You double check the tech and the math, and it looks like it should work as a signal booster between worlds. You should be able to at least send messages across using Savan as sort of a little bit of a signal tower.
The theory is sound.
It's-
Everything seems to check out.
There's a pun in there because Savan is an Andorian and has antenna. Haha.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm checking. Tix is checking over the DNA splicing.
Yeah, the genome sequence is lined up. And you do notice some strange quantum variances between Savan's DNA, like it's almost slightly out of phase, but the machine is seeming to stabilize it. All right. So yeah, if you like, you can send off a message at this point, but I think it's at this point that the ship pulls out of warp. You begin to feel it almost slow down.
I think there's probably just like an announcement.
Yeah, there's a little chirp. The captain says, Ambassador, Doctor, Taru, anybody else who wants to be up here? I think looks like we've made it. We're going to head in at Impulse now.
True would nod and make her way for the bridge. And Blake would do one of those weird little like goodbye waves or a great work, Dr. Wren. Thank you.
Yeah. Ren will like
team
give
player.
like a little pat, just like good job.
Savan's gonna give Blake a big slap on the back. Good job.
Thank you.
Never washing that back again.
I'm never washing my uniform again.
All right. You make it up to the bridge of the Antioch. Captain's still sitting center chair. All right, Uthru, bring us in at Impulse. I'm going to ask you to make me a reason plus con check. Astronavigation does apply.
I'm okay with that. Yeah. Okay, that is 5. And
It's a difficulty too. It's not hard.
no, I was just seeing if I can do something else, but no, that is yeah, that's just 2 successes, a 5 and a 10.
Okay. Easily enough, you're able to sort of type in the course heading, and the ship begins to shift into this nebulous cloud that is the Typhon Expanse. The ship sort of it's pretty calm as it moves through. But it's at this point that your GM is going to spend a couple points of threat, and
How dare.
the captain, sitting center chair, begins to, as Savan steps on the bridge, begins to feel looks like they're feeling looks like they're feeling dizzy, and sort of buckles forward a little bit.
Captain?
Ren's rushing over.
Yeah, did Doc Texas?
Both doctors are on it. Something's. Oh. I feel really nauseous, and oh, my head. You can both make scans if you like.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
either assisted by the other, or Who wants to lead the charge?
What's the role?
It is a reason plus medicine.
Yeah,
I can do that.
pretty good.
Who wants to lead this? Because it's one assisted by the other.
I want to say, like, I'd be happy to lead because Ren's kind of like Ren is the doctor on board, and she will kind of just like bust through.
I love it.
Bust through
That's
ticks.
100% how I saw it too.
Yeah,
And
so-
it's like
I can't-
this is
I
my
can't-
patient.
I can't step on my students' toes.
So I would say give me a single die to assist Dr. Tix, and Dr. Sava, roll your 2d20. This is difficulty.
Reason and medicine, right?
Reason medicine, yes. This is difficulty 3.
Medicine, 50
One success.
Okay, that's 3 successes.
4 successes. Okay, on a difficulty 3, so that you get a point of momentum.
Perfetto.
The Dr. Wren, you notice some elevated levels. I'm not a doctor, so I'm just gonna say that it's not. There's the
Elevated
captain's-
brain chemicals.
the captain seems to be having an adverse reaction to the tachyon radiation, and specifically to Savan.
Dr. Wren will voice that out. Has the captain had this kind of reaction before, like with the history of?
Ask me send a point of momentum for that question, and I can answer.
Yes, please.
None noted on file.
This has never really happened before. But from my senses, from my scans, this appears to be a reaction to Savan.
And they say, Savan doesn't feel right.
Tix is just gonna look at Savan. He's like, "What do you mean?"
I don't know. It's like this feeling I've got in my bones that, like, they've been stretched. Like, you could see that, right? When you look at Savan, you can see the multiple versions of Savan. And it's at this point that they begin to get a bit woozy in the chair.
Ooh.
Oh.
Like,
First officer, and like Ren is like you can't.
Ren,
you
you
need to
notice
get
there's
checked.
a genetic component to this on your
Okay.
tricorder readings.
Okay, so it's like a genetic reaction to.
Like there's something about the captain's physiology that is causing this reaction. You might be able to get a little bit more information if you take them to sick bay.
God.
Yeah, I think that's what Ren is going to do. Ren is gonna like get him up to go to the med bay, and we'll look over at the first officer to sort of take over.
The first officer, I believe that's the Vulcan. Let me double check in my notes.
If Dr. Wren is like catching and like kind of carrying the captain, can I take a look at the scans of?
Yeah, I think because I think we both scanned,
Absolutely.
so we'd have them both.
When you upload the readings to sickbay, you notice that the captain is not 100% human.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I use like my focuses in xenobiology and xenoanthropology
Absolutely.
to figure this out, even though I kind of think I know what's going on. God, all my
You can
friends are
ask.
in pain.
You can spend a momentum to
We,
ask me
we
a
got the
question.
mements.
Yeah, spend
we
spend
got
the
the
momentum,
mements.
buddy.
I'm gonna
We have
just
to
do
spend them
up
in the
like
scene
an
anyways.
antihistamine. I'm gonna do like a timey-wimey antihistamine for the captain.
There you go. I love it.
From
Here's-
from
Here's some
what
temporal Zyrtec.
Yeah. Can I please make some temporal Zyrtec whilst this happens?
from our interaction with
Commander Sovek, Zhizhar is the Exo, nods and takes center chair. Acknowledge.
From our interaction from the last temporal space being that we've had on this ship on our ship before,
Mm-hmm.
is there, I know we probably don't in like Starfleet databases have like many uh much information about
You're asking about the Q?
Qs.
Yeah.
There's no genetic information available for the Q.
Yeah.
If there was, they'd just snap it out of existence.
Yeah, I figured. But like, is the reading so whacked out that it's just like there can't be any really other
I will tell you
reasoning or
this.
deduction
I will
of
tell
this?
you this. If you ask the question, is the captain a Q? I will answer you no.
Okay. This is a wild thing. Is Captain a Q?
No.
But
So I will take that point of momentum.
yeah, you take that
Yeah,
point.
yeah. You earned
So can
it.
can I like roll something to try to figure out?
You can
what's
absolutely
going on?
use the Federation database to see if there is a genetic match. Or a
Yeah,
similar
I'm
genetic
gonna.
match.
Yeah, I want to do that and use my focus on xenobiology and xenoanthropology to try
Insight
to.
Insight medicine focuses apply, and you can be assisted by the ship's computers. You can be assisted by the ship's computers plus medicine, or computers plus science. Both work.
I'm going to make the time nausea medication.
Yeah, and using my being of many talents, because I'm using 2 of my focuses, I'm gonna re-roll if one of them is more.
Sava, make me a reason medicine check.
You said insight medicine?
Insight
Me?
medicine for you, Dr. Tix.
I am re-rolling that one.
It is a
please.
difficulty. It is a difficulty. It's a little bit of a rare case. It is a difficulty 2.
Can I use I have quick study, so when attempting a task that will involve an unfamiliar medical procedure or treat an unfamiliar species, ignore any difficulty increasing.
Okay, yeah, it would have increased to difficulty 3 or difficulty 4, so I will lower the hypo to difficulty 3.
Okay. And do I use
reroll.
alternative medicine, xenovirology, and xenoimmunology for this?
Virology or immunology, it's not really a virus or an immune response. It is almost, I would almost consider it an immune response, so yes. Yeah, I'd say that focus plus.
Okay. That is 3
What'd you get?
successes.
You got
I
3
got
successes? And you got 3 successes, so 3 was what you needed, 2 was what you needed, so you get a point of momentum. The Federation database does ping back with a match from a species known as the Elorian. Elorians.
What?
At least part of the captain's DNA is Elorian. It looks like half human, half Elorian.
Mm-hmm.
Elorians were a species that encountered the Borg a long time ago. They were mostly wiped out. Some of them did manage to survive. The most famous example being an Elorian that was posted aboard the Enterprise as the ship's bartender, Guinan. Guinan currently works in, I believe, Los Angeles at the 10 Forward Bar. But
Your
other
dad?
members were uh, uh, they're very scattered. They're not very common. And you do also know that they have a history of being sworn enemies of the Q.
Oh,
Interesting.
huh. Is there anything else that we because they mentioned seeing multiple of
Elorians have sort of an advanced kind of empathy that allows them to see changes to the timeline.
yeah, that will do it.
And in fact, adverse changes to the timeline occurring quickly in succession in the presence of a full-blooded Elorian will cause what is known as time sickness. And you see that the captain is actually in the process of getting sick in a bucket in sickbay.
Poor
Mhm.
buddy.
It's just like
Sorry, content warning and check for that because we can always roll
Good.
it back. Okay.
I think just like Tix will turn to Dr. Ren. It's like they need to be sedated and put to sleep for at least a little bit because they are experiencing some
And
time sickness.
you can also tell from this that the closer you get to the source of this, the worse it's going to get for the captain.
Yeah,
Right.
they need to be. They
You
need
can
to
alleviate
be
some of the
sedated.
symptoms with that roll, Dr. Salen. You can alleviate some of the symptoms,
Mhm.
but the closer you get, the worse it's going to get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're just going to do what we can to pretty much I think knock them out so that they don't like
Right.
feel like the car sickness equivalent.
Do we feel like even if we even if they are put to sleep for a little bit, like are they still going to feel the effects if the whole entire ship gets closer to the Typhon Expanse?
If you if you put the captain in basically just put the captain under for a little bit, they should be fine.
Yeah.
They shouldn't suffer any further ill effects, but you do know that there's a whole lot of questions that I think even the captain themselves didn't know about.
Yeah. Or I think it's probably the fact that they are only half and it's affecting them this much means that there's a lot of changes that has happened.
Or it's possible that the mix of human physiology with Elorian physiology is causing this reaction to be even more averse than it would normally be.
Yeah.
All right, we will sedate the captain.
Yeah, that would probably be best. My head is killing me right now.
Very sorry to do this.
1 second. Captain to Captain to Commander Sovak. I am medically unfit. Please take control of the Antioch. Take good care of her. And Sovak comes over the intercom. Acknowledged.
I think before Dr. Wren puts them under, is like, we'll be out of this soon and we'll figure this out.
I know. I trust you.
Dr. Wren?
He lays back. And there's the soft hiss of the hypospray as it goes into the captain's neck, and they pass out.
I think Dr. Tix is gonna turn to Dr. Wren and is like, find anything that you can to figure out possible not possible reactions that could be happening between Alorian and human DNA, of how we can further help relieve the pain. And I think you need to update your medical records for your captain here.
Of course. Sure thing, Doctor. I'll get on that right now. And Ren will begin like.
I think Dr. Chell has also stepped in and is happy to assist.
And I will step out of med bay because that is not my job anymore. Gotta go.
Ambassador, doctor.
Yeah, doctor.
Ambassador, doctor.
Ambassador, doctor.
Um,
And I think like seeing Tix is gonna look back at Red and seeing him in their element, it's just like, yeah, they're in great hands right now. So, and then the ambassador will go back to the bridge.
all right. The camera pans to the exterior of the ship as it moves throughout the expanse, these sort of purple nebulous clouds spreading out throughout the quadrant. You move slowly towards the source of the signal, which is a small, seemingly derelict Starfleet vessel.
At this point, does Nalani recognize the vessel?
Absolutely, you do.
Can I
Yeah, go for it.
Can Nalani use the information that she knows of the vessel to help us lock into that? Lock in as like the starship?
Yeah, if you like, you can definitely have someone on the bridge engage a tractor beam and pull it into your shuttle bay. It seems this is not quite. This is the source of where Nara's signal was coming from, but the actual source of the signal that is suffusing throughout the Typhon expanse is coming from a secondary location. But you do have a lock on Nara, or at least
It's just
where Nara's
using
signal's coming from.
It's using that ship as kind of like a bouncing off.
No, this is Nara. This is where Nara's GPS is pinging, for lack of a better term. But the actual tachyon radiation pulse seems to be coming from a secondary location, not too terribly far away.
Nalani will provide like the detail involving the ship provided to ensure that everyone knows what they're in for that ship. And I think that the information would ping to certain people that it's like, it's not just like I like ships and this is a ship that I know, this is mine.
It is a Starfleet issue shuttle, but it has been kitted out. It looks like it was made with specific modifications by special request of the Admiral. It does look like it has been beaten up for some time, and it does look like it has taken phaser fire.
Should we scan it?
Yeah, 100%. True is trying to scan
Absolutely.
this mofo to see how many life sources are aboard that
Absolutely.
vessel.
Uh,
And I'll
so
give you the security codes for it.
yeah, for sure. Make me a. This is going to be an insight plus security check, insight plus science check if you're doing a scanny scan, and the
Yes.
Antioch can assist. This is a difficulty. So Nalani had the codes for it, so you can hone in on it a little bit better. That does lower one level of difficulty. The ship has an advanced sensor suite that lowers it down another difficulty, so it is now
Okay.
a difficulty 2.
Perfect, 'cause that's what I got. A 6 and a 4.
Okay, fantastic. You do get a ping on a single humanoid life sign. Nara's always a little bit more difficult to read, but you do get one positronic matrix, which is what's the word? Which is coincides with
Gotcha.
just with what you would
Mhm.
expect from Nara. But there is also one
Um,
humanoid life sign aboard.
Yeah, True, without turning away from the monitor and just rereading that like information over and over, there is a life form.
You do also notice that
With-
the life form does have some cybernetics.
When you say
There's a
like there
life
is
form. Yeah, like it's cold. Like there's like it is cold and cutting. There is a life form aboard that vessel with Nara.
I think
I just gave her the ship.
Hicks is gonna look at.
Is Tix up here again, or is he down in
yeah.
the med bay?
Yeah.
Look at the commander, who's in command right now.
Sovak.
Sovek. Yeah.
Commander Sovek. He's like, I think it's wise to hail.
Opening hailing frequencies. Hailing frequencies open, sir. Federation vessel. This is the USS Antioch. We've arrived at your location per your signal. Please respond. Hi, Raiders. Welcome in. There's a soft voice that responds. Hello, Antioch. I see you all got my message. Mind if we come aboard?
Who is we?
Myself and a friend. You trust me, right, Taru? It's audio only, no visual.
Taru will sigh and like look at Nalani and Tix on the bridge. I do.
All right.
Just like look at Commander Sovek. It's like, it's your call.
Prepare to beat them aboard. And you hear Nara's voice. Don't worry about it. And you all hear the sound of the transporter as it engages. And 2 figures are now standing aboard the bridge. Nara and one former Captain Harrow. And that's where we're going to take our first break. We're going to take a quick break, everybody. Thank you so much. And thank you all the raiders that have come in so far. From It's Probably Okay, from Just Dorky Teacher, and we had another one.
Goomba.
And Fluffy Goomba. Welcome in. Hope you stick around. We will be back in probably about 10 minutes or so. We'll see you soon. Okay, we are clear.
I was
Paula.
trying to figure.
And we're back. Hello. Welcome back. We we're in our second half here, and in our first half, we finally figured out where Nara was. She beamed aboard with what appears to be the former Captain Harrow. They're both dressed in because this is like moody as heck. They're both dressed in like kind of like robes, like cloaks almost, for moody effects. Nara sort of pulls back the hood, and Harrow pulls back the hood dramatically at the same time. Glad you
I
made
feel
it.
like it's probably just like a almost a step forward with Tix when seeing Nara, and then sees Harrow as like,
Calm down. I know this is probably shocking. It's a lot worse than it looks, but it's not. They're here to help.
Help?
They're here to help. Yes.
True's going to lock eyes with Harrow. Do you care to explain, Nara? How that could be even remotely possible?
And Nara looks like she's about to say something, and Harrow sort of says, It's okay. I understand that after this time, my presence here would be something of a shock, and I kind of expected this reaction. It's... This is, in a lot of ways, what is happening here and now is, in very many ways, my fault as much as it is anybody's. In fact, I probably hold the lion's share of it. But I am no longer the monster I was. I'm only here to try to see this out, because there are worse things that are trying to make their way through.
how is Savan reacting? Because
Savant's
as much as Taru is ready to murk this guy, Savan was up close and personal.
like, how's Savan react? Savan is jaw set, but just holding.
Is this a conversation we should be having here or in the ready room?
Probably in the ready room.
Captain, Commander, if you don't mind.
Commander, I would recommend that you bring this ship to red alert. And the commander kind of looks to you, Admiral. Red alert.
And if there's no one that says anything, Alani will help lead them into the ready room. Probably closing in on Harrow, but non-aggressively.
Yeah, the security chief has had a hand on her phaser. The security chief is Moshe Dre, who's a Betazoid and has had the hand on his phaser the whole time.
So it's gonna be the
The senior staff.
5 of us, the senior staff, and
I
then
think Commander Sovek will join you as she is the leading the
yes,
ranking officer on the bridge currently.
I think Uther
Hi,
just
Watson.
leans. Uther just like as they leave, like Uther like leans over to like whoever is left in the
Navigator.
bridge, and it's just like, is this usually how many red alerts we get like within like days of each other? This is a lot.
I have no idea.
Everyone's
I
new.
just signed on.
Oh my god, what? They put all the new people on the bridge.
Listen, I'm just an ensign. Like I'm just on
Also
like the
just an
operations
ensign.
track. Like I'm just trying to figure this out, man.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I feel like at this point there's gonna be like a like communicator buzz, and you're gonna go, "Yeah, this is Lieutenant Finn. Did I detected somebody transport directly into our bridge? I just wanted to confirm that wasn't something going on that maybe I didn't understand."
And I think the security chief, Moshe, uh, this is Lieutenant Moshe Dre. Everything is under control here. You did recognize an unauthorized transporter signal, but it has been cleared up. The ship is on a red alert for an unrelated reason. Please stand by.
You'll just hear like a silence followed by, "Right. Okay." It's like clicks off.
You all make your way into the ready room, and sort of tentatively, Nara takes a seat, and Harrow also takes a spot at the table.
I'm making myself be put in between Taru, Savant, and Harrow.
Okay. Um, it's at this point, Nara will sort of nod to everybody as you sit. I know you probably have a lot of questions. Where I've been, what I've been up to. Obviously, I have clearly been on the run from the Federation for quite some time. I recently heard that the ban on synthetics was lifted, which is good news, I think. I hope. But that's neither here nor there. We've got more pressing matters to attend to. It's good to see you all. And she makes specific eyes at you, Tix. You went gray?
It's great to see you.
She has not aged a day. Quite literally because of the synthetic body.
Tix has aged so much.
Nara will stand and place a hand on one of the consoles that brings up displays. The screen will shimmer as data is inputted into it. I came to the Typhon Expanse a few years ago in search of answers. And you can sort of see the memories flash up on the screen. The reason, the power, the temporal anomalies still vexed me. It was something, I guess, a curiosity left in my original programming from what my initial purpose was to observe and report. So I observed, and then I saw this, and there is a. It looks like just a normal portion of the Typhon expanse. It begins to tear open like a rift in space. And um, Captain Harrow speaks up. It seems that there is a number of interested parties seeking a way to change the outcome of events. Make certain that certain events of history did not happen or happened differently. These pulses that you're sensing are the remnants of outliers making small alterations to the timeline. And Nara says, I knew that I couldn't do it by myself, and there was not much I could do alone in the ship. The advancements that Admiral Nadan, and at this point, it is still
Thalen now.
accessing Salen now. Admiral Salen. Apologies. The ship that Admiral Salen provided me with was advanced at the time, but compared to the force that I was faced with, you can see the damage. I barely managed to escape. In my wanderings, I found an unlikely ally. Gestures to Harrow. Between the two of us, we knew a fair deal about the anomalies and what. I managed to retain key pieces of information through my pork implants. Enough for us to formulate a plan. We needed more help, though. So Nara came up with the idea of sending information to you. However, some of it seems, was intercepted. More interested parties. There's a force amassing at the other side of the wormhole. The anomaly, the tear in space and time. Remnants from the Dominion War, who seek to change the timeline in such a way that it ends in their favor.
So you're saying there's an invading force amassing to come here.
They will breach through the rift in the Typhon expanse.
You're asking us to stop that?
Yes. This ship is a science vessel. It is outfitted with technological capabilities that outclass the humble shuttle that we were given. The idea is to seal the rift, stop the anomalies from bleeding through. However, we are running out of time. And Nara will look at Savan. You felt them. The ripples. Savan nods. The alterations to the timeline, while not permanent at first, affect those who have experienced the ebb and flow of the timeline provided by the Typhon Expanse. I recognized it because I was made to be a conduit, and Harrow sort of hangs their head a little. I recognized it because I was the one that initiated it. And Savan, yeah, and then I went for a swim in time soup, and here we are. We don't have much time.
So, how do you plan on sealing it?
Well, honestly, this is Harrow. Well, honestly, we were hoping that you might be able to assist us with that. And Nara pulls up some specs. The problem is me. I don't know that I was ever supposed to be here.
What do you mean?
Something went wrong. Something in my code changed by the Typhon Expanse. Some remnant of me still exists. Somewhere in there, and it is fueling this force. Similar to the way that Harrow and his crew. So there's an alternate Nara that is currently causing this whole thing, right? How do we stop it? Well, the crew of the Solstice managed to seal a rift similar to this one once. Stood to reason that the crew of the Solstice might be able to do it again, maybe with the help of new bright minds.
How do we know that this is a sincere offer of camaraderie and not something serving the end of one?
Serving my end, you mean?
I do.
I recognize the dangers of what I did. I have spent 15 years in a Federation penal colony, being rehabilitated, counseled, appropriately knowing and learning the severity of my actions. To be honest, you don't know. But if you don't trust me, trust her. If you need
Nara,
to...
if we close the... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Nara, if we close the rift, what is going to happen to you and the other you? Is that a connection that you'll just lose, or is there going to be... What are the ramifications of this rift closure?
I don't know, honestly. I could disappear from existence. I could stabilize in this one.
Is this entity within the expanse something that we can encounter physically?
I don't believe so. It's data. Raw data. Not... It's... For lack... It's me before I met you. It's me without knowing humanity. It's me without knowing humanoid life, without knowing everything. It is observing and reporting back to something that has co-opted it, and they are changing minute things here and there. They are like a child not knowing what they're doing and being co-opted by someone else, exploited by someone else.
Okay. Typically gonna look over to Siobhan and Taru. Is it possible, and probably easier, to use the anchor that you just created and the communication array that you were attempting to make? Or I don't know if did they finish it, or are they still working?
It has yet to be tested.
Is it possible to have something like that, but specifically for Nara? Maybe we could stop, have Nara communicate with themselves, since it is just data. Nara is an aficionado with data and could possibly convince themselves
It's possible.
to
I
stop.
believe that the anchor will be the key. However, it is a temporary solution. We'll need to bolster it to buy us time. As it's built now, it will enable Siobhan to speak across the different realities and unite efforts against the anomaly. I think that is still something that we need. I think it is naive and short-sighted to believe that what we do in this one reality will have a chain effect into all of the others. It is best if we work collaboratively with our partners across space and time.
So
That
we
being
can
said,
superimpose the communication so that we can provide us maximum time, as well as an ability to close the rift throughout multiple
correct.
realities.
Correct. I also believe, given that this is coded to Siobhan's DNA, it is possible that Nara's code is as complex. Perhaps we could double the effect. Insert Nara's data in, using it as an anchor for herself here as well, pulling out the code from the anomaly, cutting off communication from whoever is controlling it, instead of leaving it or destroying it. We could pull it out, using Nara here and now as sort of a siphon, so to speak. However, this would be very taxing on our current device. We would need to bolster its power, its signal, ensure its components. It would take extraordinary a feat of engineering, and we would have to run several models to ensure that this is even possible.
Arrow,
Yes.
how much energy is left on this shuttle?
Not much. Why? We were running on
Just
reserve
thinking.
life support.
How much energy do we need? So we have we have the ability on the ship to do this on our end, and assuming that the other realities have their own energy supplies, that's
If we manage to, I'm thinking if we manage to jumpstart the shuttle that you've been using and utilize the shuttle that Taru and Savan came in.
Having at least 3 ships that could assist in the stitching of the
So it's
wound.
not as taxing.
they can sort of cancel out the noise of the.
Coordinated effort
Like-
between the 3 ships wouldn't be a bad idea. I could fly the shuttle in.
I mean,
Wait.
did we get close enough that we could like tractor it in?
Oh
Or-
yeah, I think that at this point the ship has already been tractored into the
Oh,
docking
yeah.
bay.
Okay.
For those of you who are wondering what my reaction was, Nora handed me this beautiful D20 that's like,
Oh,
it's metal, it's heavy, and it's got a rainbow in the middle.
Hmm.
And I rolled on it, and I rolled a 1.
I'm
First roll on it.
scared.
Be scared.
Taru's gonna kind of knit her brows together before looking at Savan. I know that the current device holding you here is using the system of transporters to
Yeah, it's kind of
Sort
fed
of
into the transporter power systems, yeah.
would we be able to bolster that with the transporter systems from our ship?
Possibly. Why? What are you asking?
I'm trying to gather a picture of resources. What we'll want to do if our ship is really acting as the power hub to connect the realities, and it's just it's a single point of failure if everything relies on everything here. High risk, high reward, I suppose.
Are you trying to amplify the signal throughout the secondary and tertiary ships?
If that was possible, I don't know, but yes. If we amplify the signal, it would give us a wider window, more options.
Like different communications towers. No, we can actually make
Exactly.
that work. I think I know an engineer that can help me. In fact, I think I know a couple engineers on the ship that can help.
Okay.
I think that young Bajoran Pell, Dovum, can probably help, and I think that Blake could also probably assist.
Mm.
3 of us work together. We could probably get signal amplifiers aboard our shuttle and the shuttle that Nara was aboard. We could make this work. I just can't leave this ship is the only thing.
Yes.
Because the communications hub for better or worse kind of runs through me.
Yes.
Which kind of reminds me of it's fine. Savan looks nervous.
Nara, do you have any reason to believe that hostiles might have already broken through the anomaly? Anyone that might interfere with us directly?
Not as of yet. They haven't been able to constitute themselves on this side. But the time on that is running thin. We start to feel the ripples of their ships. And it's at this point that the GM is spending 2 points of threat, and there's a notification from the bridge. Bridge to commander. There's something coming through. We've got multiple contacts.
Taru is going to look at the group and just say, "It seems our time's up." Before getting up and moving to the door and like pressing the button. And have a plan
Let's
is
do
better
this.
than no plan.
All right, let's get to work. And Sylvan's going to stand. Harrow stands as well. I think I can also assist with your engineering efforts. Sylvan says, if you insist. Lead the way.
Drew will clench her fists and she's going to walk out and start heading towards the engineering space.
Okay.
I think while everyone is leaving, I'm trying to grab Nara before she leaves the room.
One sec, I'm taking a sip of water.
Yeah, take your sip.
All right.
I get thirsty as hell up in here.
Nara sort of looks at you. Sorry I didn't contact you sooner. I didn't want to risk you losing anything more because of me.
You left. I basically left. I lost almost everything.
I know. You still at least had your career. I mean,
Barely. I only did it because I was trying to get you back.
I know. I'm sorry. You know, if
And
there was
as
a way,
much-
I would have taken you with me.
As much as you don't know what is going to happen when this is done, you don't know what's going to happen to Haro or Savan either, right?
I don't. There's 3 ships, 3 anchor points, 3 people that are crucial to this mission. And Anita's playing all of them. Anyways.
Who are you talking to?
Sorry, that was Q.
Just kind of like almost like cutting her off. I am not thinking worst case scenario. Because the only scenario that matters is the one that you get to come home.
And she'll kiss you. I'm already home. You're here.
And I think I'm going to just hold her as long as we have.
It's not long, but it's enough.
Yeah.
For now, at least.
Yes.
We have work to do.
Yeah. Yeah. As much as this plan is like, yes, let's do this, there's not really much Tix can do here.
There's a lot you can do. You've got good science.
I get science.
You've also got, I think at this point, Tix has decent talkie skills too, right?
I got some talkie talk skills.
There's a message that needs to be relayed throughout time, space, and reality.
Oh, why do I keep putting myself in this position?
Because you enjoy it?
The diplomat's gotta write a speech. Speech.
Speech. Got an ambassador and an admiral that could write a speech.
Hell yeah. We also have 2 other vessels that are probably going to need to be piloted at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nilani's like, damn, I haven't flown a ship in ages.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, guess Uther's gotta fly a ship. Save his mom.
Mhm. But are you getting a little one or a big one? Oh, well, I guess that's also partially dependent on whether or not your mom lets you go outside of this ship as well.
They don't have a choice.
You are on this ship until the commander tells you otherwise,
Mhm.
which they might. She might. All right.
Alright,
So,
let's get cracking.
where are we gonna go first? Do we want engineers, scientists? Who we wanna focus on first?
So I just want to break down my understanding of the plan really quick and
Okay.
like what our tasks are. Our tasks
sure.
are we need to prepare a communication to like disperse through the realities so we can like synchronize, like close the gate across realities, which is sick as hell.
Uh-huh.
We need to amplify the signal by like connecting the transporters in all 3 ships. Savan has to stay put, so we can send Pell to one, and we can send Blake
another.
to
Like
one
to the other.
to try and sync those up.
Mm-hmm.
Science team is running, I guess, is figuring out how to actually close the rift. Yeah.
Science
yeah.
science team is also
Science
figuring
team
out,
can compile all the data that
Oh.
was that you've recently acquired from the USS Solstice.
and
Yes.
integrating
Nara into the
Nara
anchor
and
to
also
pull the code
Haro,
out.
and also
That's
Haro
right.
onto it too as well.
Yes, and you have to do
Okay.
all this while multiple contacts are now beginning to come through the rift.
I hope my boy gets to punch something. Anyways.
Maybe.
Hey, I'm cool. So we got science team, engineer team, flight team. I'm fine wherever we
Yeah.
want to start.
All right.
Yeah, I think Nilani would be at the end because Nilani's flight and comms, so
Flight and
she'll
comms.
be on the one of the little ships.
All right. So do you want to take back your little dinghy
Yes,
from
my
Nara?
baby's broken.
All
I'll
right.
take that.
So do we want Blake or do we want Dovum on that one?
We can put Blake aboard that one. I think that would be fun.
Okay. Yeah, because Blake already had a little bit of experience with that ship.
Uh-huh.
And knows. Okay, so that's Ruben. Where is Pell's character sheet? Lauren sent it to me, right? Ah, there it is. Found it.
Nice.
All right, engineers. We've got both of so all right. So on board is Nilani and Blake working on so Blake is working on Savan's ship and Pell is working on Dovum Pell is working on the other is working on
Mhm.
Nilani's ship. Okay.
Mhm.
Sounds good. Dovum's gonna make a control engineering check to try and get this thing sorted.
Can I assist with any? Because Nilani has a focus in advanced communications,
Absolutely.
and neural net processing systems and AI. So, can I give an assist for
Absolutely.
with connection? I
And,
guess.
Dovum has a focus in power systems, warp field dynamics, reverse engineering. Reverse engineering would definitely apply here because you're trying to work backwards to make a signal booster based on the one that Blake has already made. Okay.
What
Uh,
role is that? Sorry.
So for you, Nalani, it's going to be a reason plus science.
Nice. Rolled on that one, baby. I rolled a 1. I rolled a 1.
And Pell rolled a 3 and a 9 for 3 successes. So that's 4 successes. It was a difficulty 4. So yeah, success. Great success. It was a difficulty 3, actually, so it would be a point of momentum. I believe you're almost capped. You've got 1 more point to go. Boop. Okay. Shuttle number 2.
Yeah.
So Blake, you can make your roll with and who did we say was piloting that one?
I don't know if we decided.
Who wants to tandem pilot with the Admiral?
Obviously,
what?
the only person that can.
You know what? Actually,
That's going to be Nalani doing a who wants to
this is
what
gonna
pilot
this is
wants
probably
to.
gonna elicit a glare. But Harrow says I was actually a test pilot back in my day.
On DP, that would elicit a glare. And just happy. Oh, hell yeah. I love this. I love this so much. Because Happy Boy Blake's going to be like, who the fuck's this guy? It's like, True will look at Harrow. Let me be crystal clear. I find that effective communication is important in all dealings. If you act in any way contrary or in opposition to our course of action, the lieutenant here will fire with an intent to kill. Do you understand? And Blake is just gonna like, what the fuck?
What?
I wouldn't dream.
And True is just that stone cold.
I wouldn't dream of it. You're a doctor now, correct?
I am.
Then you would know the value in fixing things. In solving problems. That's what I'm offering. You look at me like you see a monster, and I understand that. But I am not the monster that haunts your nightmares. Those are the much worse things out there. And I know that you could never possibly forgive me for the things that I've done. All I am asking for is not even a chance at redemption. That would be too much. A modicum of atonement, perhaps.
Take your chance then, Captain Harrow.
I'm not a captain.
Or it seems we
anymore.
are not given.
I lost that right.
True will raise a brow. Will you not be piloting a ship? Before kind of like not waiting for an answer, she's going to turn and go do science stuff, leaving Blake kind of awkwardly standing there.
A ship can have a pilot, but not a captain.
And I don't think I am going to shoot you unless you give me a reason to.
I wouldn't dream of it. And steps aboard the ship and begins to assist. Blake, would you like to make your engineering roll? Harold will assist.
Engineering and what?
This is going to be a control and engineering.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see. No, 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 no.
Hera rolled a 1.
Amazing. I'm trying to read. I've got this percussive maintenance that specifically applies to control engineering task.
Absolutely. You just sort of Fonzie jukebox it.
Yes. And I would like to do this, and here's why. So let me read it to you. You have an extensive repertoire of quick fixes, crude bypasses, and other improved techniques for using all the repairing devices during a crisis. They all do a job, but it's messy work. When you attempt a control plus engineering task, you may add 2 threat to use your daring instead of your control. If you do this, the task succeeds, you may
Christmas.
reduce the time taken by 1 interval without spending momentum. But yeah, I want to do that because that gives me better odds because I want to crush it.
It's like Christmas for me.
Oh God, I needed it. Thank God. Yeah. So I got
It is
a
a difficulty. It is a difficulty 3 for because you're the one specifically doing it, Blake. It is a 3
okay, and
because you're just replicating your own.
Yeah, I'm really glad I did that because I would not have made it. I got 2 successes.
Well, Harold got a 1 on the die for the assist. So that is actually 4 successes and an additional point of momentum. So y'all are capped out at momentum. You're going to need them. But I thank you for the 2 points of threat.
You're welcome. The way I see this is because it's the ship that Blake has been on before. He's just gonna, I'm sorry about that. He'll be clicking around and like kind of confused that something's not working. And you'll just look down and the camera zooms in on that broken part like that he'd seen before. And he's going to just give it a kick into the panel and you'll hear like a whir of like electricity goes, ah. And he goes back and finishes it.
It's that one panel. It doesn't stay. Sylvan even said as much.
I love it.
And Harrow is going to start doing pre-flight checks, flipping switches, pressing buttons on the LCARs. All right. I suggest you remove yourself from the shuttle.
Oh, I'm afraid I don't know if I should do that, seeing how if this thing goes haywire, you're not going to be able to fly and repair.
You insist.
Well, that makes me feel like I shouldn't have, but it is what it is.
We are going into a potentially dangerous situation. I did not want you risking yourself unnecessarily.
I appreciate that, Mr. Harrell, but, it would not be the first time I've had conflict with hostiles, so...
All right. Well, then
I think we'll be all right.
I'll get you as my co-pilot then.
Great.
As the ranking Starfleet officer, that would technically make you the captain.
I don't like the sound of Captain Finn. I'm going to be real honest with you. Never did sound right.
All right. Camera will pan over to our science team. Our science team is trying to find the exact specifications to close the rift.
Yes. And connect Nara's data to the anchor to spool in the data,
That has
like
been
suck
co-opted.
it in.
All right.
Yes.
The ship is at red alert, and you begin to feel the engines shift as it begins to move at impulse. You see the 2 shuttles lift off from the bay. Admiral Salen, do you want to make me some piloting checks?
Hell yeah.
And I think Hera's going to make a piloting check as well.
Was that control and con or reason con?
We're going to say control and con.
That is 3 successes.
And it is... Shit, you not from Harrow, 4 successes. 1 and a 3. to both ships lift
Damn.
up and pull out in almost in synchronization. You pull out and split off in two separate directions, beginning to create this sort of triangular pattern. And as you exit out of the shuttle bay, Nilani, you see that there are ships beginning to form in the space around. You see them almost flicker in and out of existence before becoming like close to fully corporeal.
We've got to move, everyone.
All right, science teams. We're doing the science.
Let's
So,
go.
this is going to be Taru, Choi, and I believe who else would be assisting with this? I think Savan would be assisting you as well with this, at least from an engineering standpoint.
Cool. I would like to. I have. Is this a task? Like what we're doing?
Yes.
Cool. I have collaboration for science. So whenever an ally attempts a task using science, you may spend 1 momentum to allow them to use your score for that discipline and one of your focuses.
Absolutely.
So my focus on temporal mechanics and my science is at 5.
Okay.
And I feel like I would like to lend that to Dr. Wren, who I assume is with us doing the science stuff, to kind of help pull all of this together.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Wren, do you want to roll for it'll be reason plus science. Taru, I would accept reason or insight plus science, and Savannah's going to help with reason engineering.
Awesome.
And I'm using your focus.
You're using my focus of temporal mechanics, and your science score will be 5, not unless you have something else. Also,
No,
I rolled a
that's
2.
4 successes.
I got
successes?
3 successes.
All right, so you get that point of momentum that you spent back. Savan also assists and rolls a 15, which is under
Hell yeah!
which is under what she needed, but just barely. It's exactly what she needed.
Thank you, Doctor.
And this sort of signal boost sort of whirs to life. And Savan, all right, I'm ready for the message. What do we tell everybody? You recognize that you know with the coordinated data from the solstice and the that you've just managed, that Admiral Nilani managed to get back. With that and the other data that you were able to get from the from the Antioch sensors, you're able to sort of bridge the gap of knowledge, and you know now that a coordinated effort from as many adjacent realities as possible, all feeding an inverse tachyon pulse into the wormhole at the exact same time, would have a stabilizing effect, in fact a closing effect, and it might even reverse the chances. But there's with that those extra momentum, because you got a whole buttload. It was a high difficulty check, but you managed to blow it completely out of the water. Would you like to spend any of that floating momentum, because you're going to lose it otherwise, for advantages, for added traits to the scene?
If
grab that cheat sheet so that I can tell you what you can do.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You can create an advantage after a successful task. You can remove a complication. You can also create a problem for an opponent's task, which makes it more difficult. what would you like to do?
Could we remove? We had the problem where this thing wasn't going to last very long.
Mhm.
Could part of Savon's success is that she's figured out how to bolster the device itself and kind of like buy us more time with it?
So the device itself was stable, and it was the only problem was it was temporary in the sense that Savan can't leave the ship.
Okay, got it.
Savan
Okay.
has to stay in range of this signal signal
Perfect.
booster.
Yeah, that helps clear up my understanding.
Yes.
I think
I'll give you that for free.
Go for it, Wassa.
Could we use so we're doing like reverse tachyon rays and like we're like pulsing them out. Can we say that we can use sort of like that frequency to kind of make it harder for the other ships around us to appear? Because they're kind of using it they're trying to like solidify into existence, but we're kind of pushing back at that, so like either canceling it out or like creating so much noise that it's
Particles
harder for
can't,
them
reform.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can create the advantage that they won't quite be able to stabilize just yet. You've bought yourself some more time.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at that lovely one. All right, so you're able to buy yourself some more time, and Solana says, okay, I'm ready to send out the information. Do we have a message that goes with it, Ambassador?
I'm ready, I guess. Yeah.
Hello, Raiders. Welcome in Neon Lights Roleplay. Good to see you.
Hi. So, how is this set up? Is it just basically like talking like in a hailing seat?
Just talk to me, and I'll transfer it throughout. I'll talk it to everybody else.
This is Ambassador Tixel Tix hailing from the Antioch. From our understanding, adversaries are attempting to utilize the Typhon Expanse to change the outcome of the Dominion War. As members of the Federation, it is our duty to prevent this outcome. With our combined forces and abilities, we should be able to accomplish this task. We are utilizing the tachyon frequency in order to buy us some more time. Use this to be able to gather your science officers, your engineers, to follow this, follow this in order to close the rift that is expanding in the Typhon Expanse, and like insert the data of what they need here.
Absolutely.
Do not get me wrong. This task at hand may seem impossible. Man your stations and boldly go forth, because we are not the timid Federation that they know.
All right. I think that the camera cuts to Savan across different timelines, relaying different portions of this message in different uniforms in different places, in creating this message. We are not the timid Federation. And you see one Savan type onto a console, sharing the information, sharing the data, and you see the same set of hands move across different timelines, across different realities. You see a Savan hand that is pink, like a human. You see different iterations, all relaying the same message, all understanding. And Savan snaps back. Message received. Reinforcements incoming. The camera pans to the exterior of the ship, as different versions of the Antioch, different versions of the Solstice, different ships from different portions of time, space, and reality begin to also flicker into existence. All around, as the GM spends the threat, the last point of threat, the ships begin to come through. But you have reinforcements as well, and a space battle begins to ensue. All right, y'all. This is the final push. Big money, no whammies. I am gonna start asking for daring and con rolls from our pilot Uthru. Anybody that likes to could roll for guns on the ship. We're gonna take this out with a big old space battle. Let's do it.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's gonna be multiple versions of the Antioch, different configurations, all
So
fighting
fucking cool.
for a unique cause. And you see, as these ships begin to flicker in, you see that they are Dominion warships. But you have
Oh my god.
you have guns at your back too. Let's go.
So cool.
Okay. So this is daring and con, you said?
Daring con, yes.
Using my focus on maneuvers.
And remember, these are going to be difficult rolls. So what I will say is that you all have points of determination that you can spend. If you want to call upon values, if you want to do anything like that to get auto successes, smoke them if you got them.
Yeah, this is the time. I think, okay. So I'm doing daring con using my focus on maneuvers, and I'm going to be using my wary talent so I can re-roll a d20.
Absolutely.
God, Uthru's first day, and he's already in the space battle.
I love it.
Let's do it.
Great, cool. Stop rolling a 20. I'm re-rolling that.
Do it.
Okay. So that's a 1 and a 5.
Okay.
So that's 3. Since it's utilizing my focus, would a 1 be 3 successes, or is it still
One is
2?
just one success. It's still 2 successes. But you do crit up to your discipline.
Up to my discipline. Yeah, but as an ensign, I don't get 5s. I don't get 4s.
Yeah. So that is 3 successes.
So I got 3 successes.
And you are going to be assisted by the Antioch's engines plus it's engines plus con. So I'll roll for that. That is a 2 on the die from the Antioch, so the Antioch helps you out. So that's 4 successes. Also, don't forget you can spend momentum for extra die. You've got a full bank of it right now, so feel free.
Oh yeah, I don't think you told me what was
difficulty was going to be 3, but you rolled
okay,
4 successes. You've read.
Cool.
Sorry.
Cool.
So and then Moshe is going to start rolling for weapons. Assisted by the ship's weapons plus security. All right. The Antioch begins to sort of swerve into the maneuvers with the space battle as this whole thing transpires. Admiral Salen, I'm going to ask you for a daring con check as well, because you're going to try and do this while under fire, and so is Harrow.
All right, Harrow, let's turn and burn, buddy.
I feel like Uthru was just like, it's like, everyone hold on, this isn't Federation certified. And just doing like maneuvers and stuff.
Heck yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if I will need to use my values, but I have like never back down.
Absolutely. If you want to use call upon your value, spend that point of determination, then you have you have a die that has already rolled a 1 in addition to the 2 that you can get for your TD20.
Okay. Because I've rolled. I actually don't have. I don't have anything in pilot anymore. But I've rolled 3 successes.
Very nice. That's about what you needed. So yeah, Harrow rolled a little poorer and is actually going to take a hit.
Oh, if I use composure, that's 4 successes.
Absolutely. Use composure.
I forgot I had
Nice.
that.
This is Grace Under Fire. Harrow takes a hit and says, my shields are going. We're gonna have to try some more risky maneuvers if we want to keep this up. I need something something to keep me off, something to keep off my back just for a little bit. And you see,
Is that something I can do? Or
you
oh
see
yeah,
a-
you go.
No, I say you see a Sovereign class ship pull up beside this tiny vessel. A Sovereign class ship is massive compared, and pulls up. You see, all of you recognize on the deck of the ship the USS Raleigh,
Oh shit.
Harrow's
Oh
old ship.
shit.
Think you've got your backup, Captain?
I'd say I do. And this ship pulls and begins to fire torpedoes.
Don't worry, Captain. I got you.
Thank you. All right. Now we're going to need one last big roll. This is going to be a difficulty 6. We're going to try and close this rift. This is going to be all our culmination of all our sciences. We're going to spend any momentum you got because, like I said, you still got a full bank. If you want to spend momentum for extra die.
I would like to spend, or is it science and engineers are rolling?
Science and engineers. Anybody that's an engineer, anybody that's a scientist can roll.
Yeah, I will for sure want to give myself as many,
So
like one each, probably.
So one die, one momentum will get you 1 die. If you spend 3 momentum, you get 2 dice.
Let's do 1 die for true and 1 die for.
So just 1 point of momentum each. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll spend 1 on Ren, and she has the value always there to lend a hand.
Awesome, yeah. So yeah, you get 1 die that's rolled a 1, and then roll your single d20.
Taru has the value will to win.
Mm-hmm.
Which I would like to call on. So that would count as 1 being rolled as a 1 already, correct?
Yeah. And then roll your d20s.
Okay.
Who is leading this roll, by the way? I should mention this.
Oh, I thought we were like 1 was science, 1 was engineering.
So the engineers are helping out the scientists, I think. It's like a big old group collaboration.
Well,
I'm happy. Go for it.
Ren is helping.
I would say Taru's probably leading this one.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So Taru, give me your reason plus science. And I think you will also be assisted by the ship's computers plus science, which is a 14.
That is a 4 successes for Taru.
And I rolled 2 dice because I bought 1. And 1's already a 1 from my value.
Absolutely.
So I just roll 1 dice because 1's already a 1.
Yes. And in your engineers, rolled a 1.
Okay.
Nice.
I rolled a success. 2. So 1's a 1. So 3 successes.
3. How many did you roll, Taru?
For Taru, 4.
4.
And then for Blake,
that's already beat.
His value we get farther together is what I would like to call on. To turn one of mine into a 1. And then what's the stats that I should roll from him?
Reason engineering. Or control engineering, I'd say.
Okay, control engineering. Great. I crushed it. And so I rolled, my engineering is no, I got it. Yeah. So that's 4 successes for Blake as well.
All right. Y'all maxed out on a momentum again. And with that,
the power of friendship.
The camera pans as this space battle is ongoing. You see a beam come out from every single version of every single Federation ship that is out there. The Solstice, the Raleigh, the Antioch. and you see the rift begin to seal itself shut. And as it does, would you all like to create an advantage because you have so many extra momentum?
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Heck yeah.
So, what advantage would you like to create? You can make something true in the narrative right now.
I would like, I don't know, like I would like to suggest it like as we're closing it, it's
Mhm.
almost like it's kind of pulling the radiation like back through it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the enemy ships themselves are kind of losing navigation control, like they're being pulled back through like
You
the
see them-
fabric of reality.
You see them
Yeah.
as they fight, they begin to fade back as though they are being pulled. And you see that Nara is sort of standing as well in the center of all of this. Eyes have gone completely blue. As you see almost a line of blue light pull itself back out from this rift as well. The data spike worked, and Nara is now reinitializing and recompiling all of the lost code. The ships begin
Ooh,
to
yeah.
fade. The rift seals itself, and this section of space seems to be healed. The battle stops, and just as they were, quickly as they came, all the versions of every ship that is here vanishes. Every additional version of the Antioch, the Solstice, the Rally, like they were never here. Your ship, the Antioch, is by itself in this beautiful nebula.
Tix is gonna go over to Nara. We did it.
We did it. We did it. She'll hug you.
Yeah, it's just full, just not letting go. Just
Yeah,
like,
just big hug, big hug.
I, yeah, it's, I think Uther's kind of getting like a little anxious at at his at his station. It's just kind of just,
And the commander looks at you and says, "If you would like to check upon your parents."
thank you. just, just goes and runs over to the science lab.
As Uther's like running down, the camera pans to I feel like Taru and Saban who are by the anchor, and Taru's like, I don't want us to turn it off until we know that it's all done. And like is doing like readings to make sure there's like no tachyon radiation to like pull like rip Saban, like, you know what I mean? Like she's like, we are not turning this, you're not taking the floaties off until the pool is drained. Like we're not doing
Until we
this.
know that you're in the shallow end.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I think Savan just looks at you, taps a button, machine powers down. Sometimes it's about trust, love.
Drew will just like look at the off button and look at her still standing there. Like just start laughing. Like her eyes will like well up with tears and she'll just start laughing. Like
And I think Savan will
full-
pick you up and like give you a big spin.
I love it. Yeah, she 100% returns the hug and just like kiss, 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 kiss
Yeah.
all over her face.
Mom!
You're just seeing two very happy moms.
Saban will like sort of straighten. Yeah, Uthru. She'll come up and she'll give you a big hug. You got big.
And
Did you get bigger?
the same size that I left at.
No, there's something else.
And it's kind of like looking over at Taru. I feel like you're still kind of like smiling
Oh,
and
100%.
kind of giddy and stuff. And it's just like, who are you and what have you done with my mother?
True will walk over and like as you're kind of like you and Savannah are really close, she'll lay a hand on your shoulder and grin and just say, "We're trying a new thing. Trust and fun."
Dr. Ren is in this science room too, right?
Well, I'm going to spend 2 of those momentum to go invisible.
Absolutely, you can.
We have momentum to burn.
We have so
I
many
love
momentum
it.
to burn.
Yeah, it's sort of like they're having their argument, and Dr. Ren is like when Ren studies and does work, has music in ears, and is like, that's not working. And then it's like things are happening. I'm just gonna go, and it's like the actual just like phase out like into like invisibility, and there's like outside the door
I
kind
think
of
you
thing.
sneak out as Uthru comes in.
Yep.
Admiral Salen, you are outside the ship. It is quiet.
I'll patch into Harrow, be like, you aren't that bad of a flyer. Good job.
I feel like I used to be better.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
All right. Shall we get back to the Antioch?
I think that's a good idea. Sick view, though. Just give it a moment before we get back. Be right behind.
All right. See you back on board. The ship turns. Should probably return this back before Taru decides to murder me.
Yeah, you might get shot at.
Also have to you have to also return Blake.
Yeah, Blake's just kind of like looking around, like screwing light bulbs in tighter. You know what I mean? Like doing like small little repairs. And as Harrow kind of makes that off comment, Blake will look over and go, "You know, Harrow, you seem like a guy with a lot of stories. I'd be keen to hearing them sometime. If you don't mind."
Well, it seems I'll probably have time aboard the ship before we head back to space dock. Buy me a drink.
I mean, that sounds all right to me. If there's one thing I've learned, there's always more than one side to any story, and I'll be honest, I'm not sure what side I'm on because we just watched a whole shit ton of ships come through seemingly nowhere, which is wild, but I guess that's Starfleet for you, huh?
One of them was mine. In another life.
Mm.
And the ship pulls back in.
I forgot to ask about Pell. Is Pell okay, or is Pell like
Pell's with you. Pell's like
sick from this?
Yeah. Remind me to fix the inertial dampers. I should probably learn a little bit more about starship maintenance.
Probably. Well, this bucket's always been here, and just there you go.
upset. Not a very happy Pell, but you if you want some time by yourself, I can just warp back to the Antioch now that we're
Yeah.
back.
Go get yourself to medbay.
All right.
I'll notify the commander.
Dovum to Antioch. One to beam directly to sick bay. And Dovum dematerializes.
Did we ever like? Did any of us ever acknowledge that Dovum looks like our Dovum?
Nope.
Nalani's poker face this entire situation. It was like when Dovum's like name first like pinged, it was like, and then it's like, no, I can't. I've got to make sure this boy is alive.
We got
I've
too
gotta make
many
sure
things
this
going
person's
on.
alive.
There's so many things happening.
We got too many things going on.
There's so many subplots.
Because I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think Tix has
If
seen
you ask-
Dovum.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think. But yeah,
Tix
Nalani
is-
just worked
Tix-
directly with Dovum,
Yeah.
with a ghost from
Nalani-
your past.
Nalani
I love
was
it.
having little brain horrors, but was like, it's fine, just fly.
If you want, you
Just
could, if you want, you
fly.
can pull up the kid's record.
Wasa, if you don't tweet that, I'll never forgive you.
New shirt, new merch.
It's fine.
It's
just
fine, just
fly.
fly.
Fine.
And it's just
Just fly.
Nalani just like staring out and flying a ship.
Well, like, because Nalani was the last, like, was running to the bridge when Dovum died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times, love it.
Good times.
I love this game. And Nalani will just have a moment.
Staring out at the Typhon Expanse. It's peaceful. You hear like the soft hum of the instruments panels. This is the first time you've been just by yourself with your thoughts aboard a ship in a long time. You feel the soft weight of that ignition key that you wear under your uniform against your chest. It's a little warm. One more time, Nalani.
Good time.
We'll sort of leave in that quiet scene. All right, everybody. This is the final time I will ask you. What little sunset moments do you want for each of your characters? We'll do the.
Can we do the secondary characters first
We'll do
and then go
secondary
around
characters
again?
first. Tell me where your careers lead in the future. I can start with Pell. Let me just. Pell, after spending a little bit of time in sickbay, realizes that he's got a little bit to learn about starship maintenance. He's going to continue on the operations track. Maybe there's a conversation that happens between here and there about why he looks so much like an old friend of the senior staff. His uncle. Was once a security officer aboard a ship called the Solstice. Long ago. He heard he made a fine engineer too. Decided to carry on with that legacy. Who wants to go next? We can popcorn it.
Yeah, popcorn.
I'll popcorn it to Dr. Saba Wren.
Um, directly after. So is this like directly after, or like when we've just like space
In
docked kind
any
of
of
thing? You're
the
thinking.
in any of the time that follows, any of the following a little bit of your career in Starfleet, any of the missions you go on in the future, anything like that. Any way you want to sunset this character or leave their career open to the future.
Dr. Sava Wren, like, is a turns out to be a fine doctor. Has been aboard this ship for a few years, but their pride and joy are what they have written, their sort of like the dissertations, their studies on the temporal anomalies and encouragement from the findings and research that were aboard, particularly this mission. And there is sort of like, I guess, a scene, you know, it's doctor, so PhD doctor and also doctor. But she'll sort of like knock on board this little like the side of a doorway kind of thing. And she will peep in. And like she has like keys, like these little little shuttle keys in her hand. And she looks over at Uther and is like, "Are you ready to go?"
And
And I think that's a perfect popcorn to Uthru.
It absolutely is.
If I've ever heard one.
yeah, I think after they had gotten back to the space station, Uthru collects on that promise, and they do go to the mess hall at first, but only to pick up finger food to like travel and walk with, as Uthru has secured a reservation on the holodeck and does a kind of like walkthrough of Uthru's hometown, with home as with True and Savan, and that's how their date goes. And later on down the line of staying on the Antioch, piloting, moving up the ranks and still being their main pilot. And I think this is during a leave, as Sava raps on the door, and jingles the shuttle keys. Uthru is fully overalls, oil stains, working on like an older model of a shuttle, and like repairing it, tuning it up, and just kind of like looks up at Sava, just like wiping the grease off, and just like, give me a moment to clean up, and we'll we'll go visit your home planet.
I think that leaves
Blake Finn?
my boy, Blake Finn. I think as with like the other montages with Blake, it's sort of as the ship docks, the camera will just kind of pan to the side, and you'll see a scene with him in the engineering bay, like pointing out the device that he built and like talking through it with like all of his fellow engineers and going like you can hear kind of like that's a great, I can't believe I didn't think of that. That's genius, Mark. As he's like pulling in the notes, and it like is that kind of like camaraderie. And as the camera pans again, it's a bar and him sitting across the table with Harrow, like his brow furrowed. It's like clear he's listening to this man like talk through some difficult things, and he nods, and you can see that he's empathizing with this man, and it hands across again like a wall again to have him in the ship like working till eventually it like stops with him with like a officer from Starfleet kind of looking at him and like brow furrowed and be like, I just don't understand, Blake. Everything here really suggests that you should be up for a promotion. Like, I don't, you're saying you don't want that, son? Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And Blake is just kind of awkwardly, I feel I appreciate every kind word that my superior officers have put in for me, but I gotta be honest with you. I don't think that I could do anything more meaningful with my time and my talents than I can with the rest of the crew below decks. That's where the heart and soul of the Starfleet is, sir. That's where I'd like to stay. And with that, he just kind of does his cheeky grin and shrugs as the camera kind of fades out.
All right. Who are you getting popcorn at to for the admirals and the upper decks?
I'm gonna go back to Tix because I don't know.
Sorry, I just imagine Blake doing the grin of that stupid TikTok out. It's like, you burned my house to the ground.
Yeah, 100%.
You monster. Tix kind of like in that moment still like holding Nara in front of the nebula that once was the Typhon Expanse.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of like pulls away from them in a moment, and it's just like, I'm retiring, right? There's no way I'm not going to spend every moment with you now.
She sort of smiles and says, I think I could use a vacation. I hear Rise is really nice this time of year. I hear it's nice every time of year.
Look it right away. And I think Tix is like fully now out of the Federation, like not doing any ambassadorship.
Beauty of living in a post-scarcity economy is you don't have to worry about rent. You can just live your life of leisure if you want.
Fully just in like with all of Sovereign's dissertations and like studies and everything, will like with every power that they still have, endorses everything for them. Like tries to stay out of Federation shenanigans, but still like keeps it tight with the rest of like the Solstice crew, keeps it tight with the Solstice crew, and also like
group chat,
anyone anyone associated with it, like with Uthru, Ren. I'm sure Blake is part of that.
I think Savannah added Blake to the group chat one day.
Yeah, and Blake is just, oh shit. Blake always comes to like the parties with like the same like crappy like little smokies on a tray. Like that's the one thing that he can make. You know what I mean? And it's just like, this is my contribution. And they are more, they taste better than they have any right to taste. It doesn't make any sense.
But I think it's just Tix. It's the situation of Tix gets older and older. Nara doesn't age.
Eventually, Nara finds actually. So funny story about that.
Oh,
There are synth bodies now, formulated by Dr. Soong, that have the ability to age and progress. And Nara upgrades, mirrors her positronic matrix into one of these new advanced bodies. There aren't very many of them, and they're very hard to come by.
I got my connections.
But one is able to be fashioned, and you're able to spend your days together.
Yeah,
Her
just
age caught up to yours.
just fully being as supportive to everyone as possible, keeping his family tight,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't do like ticks. Like I don't know how biology works in Star Trek, but I don't think like they have any
No.
offspring or anything. But fully like
What?
if anything puts everything that will transfer over to Saba.
All right. Who eat popcorn into?
I'm gonna popcorn it to Arthur Rubin.
Arthur Rubin. All right. Arthur. When Arthur awakes, they get the news that their life is fundamentally changed, that they don't understand who they are anymore. And after this mission, they walk into the Admiral's office with a letter of resignation from Starfleet. Then Arthur spends their days looking for answers, trying to find out everything there is to know about being, at least in part, Elorian. What that means, what kind of legacy that entails. Cuts to a scene in a bar with Reuben sitting across from an older-looking black woman with dreads and a fairly large hat. Just talking and listening and learning, trying to figure out what exactly all this means. Reuben realizes pretty quickly that, much like Nara, they don't really need to age, but can from time to time when it calls for it. That's the captain.
Does he come to the dinners?
Of course. Now that the
Okay.
invitation's back and open, they'll come to the dinner.
That's the important part.
They'll bring some Saurian brandy. Uh, and I'm gonna popcorn it to Toru on that handing of the bottle over to Toru.
Yeah, who smiles and kind of offers, like, there's like the sweep into the house. And the camera kind of like pans around with everybody hanging out at their home. That is, again, neat, but cozy. It's inviting, without being, but not cluttered. The camera can kind of pan down to the hallway where Taru's office is, and it kind of goes across the table with the different studies and work that she's been working on. Things around, obviously, the temporal mechanics and anchoring in time. A lot of the stuff, they'll also find a lot of handwritten notes in kind of from the solstice research.
There are some notes from one Lieutenant Wiener from Starfleet, Sciences Division. Noir, we are trying to sunset our characters here.
We're trying to sunset our characters. This is serious. This is serious stuff.
Noir, I love you so many. Never change. And then it kind of pans out of the window and cuts to Taru. I'm gonna do like a bit of a time skip. It's the morning, like the way their mornings generally begin. Taru is older, and she's waking up before Savan and going through her morning routine of getting prepared for the day. The house is slightly different. There are more pictures of the family and friends around. And True leaves the cup of coffee at Savan's night table. And goes into her office and like gathers all of the like materials together and like is putting them in stacks. And as she does, she moves the papers to the side and kind of picks up a book. And it is a book written on tachyon radiation anomalies and how it interferes with time. It's a book that True has written about her research and about her findings with all of this timey-wimey stuff. And as she kind of like grins to herself about it and sets it down before going to find Savan and get about their day.
Savan Andorians age a little bit. Vulcans age a little slower than Andorians, so Savan's getting up there and is a little bit slower to rise from bed, and still takes your hand and takes the cup of coffee happily. Still spry, still sharp as a tack, and just sort of holds your hand, walks to the porch and sits outside with you. And I think the camera will pan to just in front of them, a little flower box with daisies in pink, orange, and then pink again.
I love it. Tell me that it's to Nalani.
And go, yeah, Nalani.
Nalani being joined has sort of a lifetime of adventure in their mind and that itch for more. So that does happen for another couple of years until it's finally time to sort of settle down, and Nalani, with their efforts, opens up like a flight school. And it's best and brightest, the talent and the daring. And that is sort of like what he's been up to up until the end, when there comes a time when the joining has to happen. And with it, the Trill comes in to sort of the ritual area, and Nalani will offer sort of a hand of support, and is like, my advice, you're still you. You've just got a little bit of extra tacked on. And the joining will sort of commence, and so forth comes the new Salen. A little prior to that, though, there would be a scene when Nalani is at a bar, has a drink with the Vulcan commander that people saw in the ship prior, to commemorate the last Salen, the late Salen, sorry. And then we'll tell them that they'll be going soon. They'll be having the ritual soon. They just have to play one last game of poker. And we play it with Sava Wren. And the winning prize is a pair of keys to a shuttle. And that's where sort of like those scenes end.
There's a scene where Nalani closes their eyes and a new Trill opens theirs. Nalani lives on. Maybe we'll find out what they do one day. And I think that is where we're going to end this series. Before that, because I've been pressured by someone in chat.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh.
There's a scene of a group of older officers sitting around a table. One older Cation, looking a little up in years. There is an older human also in a sciences outfit, and also another, no longer an ensign, but now a lieutenant commander in a red uniform. This is Ensign Butts, not Ensign Butts, this is Lieutenant Commander Butts. No longer Ensign Cheeks, this is Commander Cheeks. And this is Captain Wilma, Captain Fingerdew. Playing poker around a table. Because you motherfucker, I swear to God, if I come into the other room, it's on sight. I hear him yell from the other room.
I couldn't hear it, but I know they did. I know that they did.
All I'm hearing right now is yeah.
The trifecta are sitting around a table, clapping
With
for
Nalani.
cheeks and clapping for butts.
You son of a
All
bitch.
gathered round, maybe having a drink for their lost companion.
Nah, that guy
Lieutenant
was a dick.
Wiener died too soon.
Yeah, that guy was a dick.
That's where we're going to end this series. Maybe that'll be for our
Okay.
Lower Decks game. That's been The Lost Frontier, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go around. We're going to do our final outros, and everyone can say who they are, where they can be found, and what they're doing around. And yeah, I think that's us. We'll start with Ambassador Dr. Tixel Tix or Uthru Zilrelquith. Hushakid.
Hi. I'm AJ, also known as Husha Kid. You can find me on the 3Ts of social media, Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok as Husha_Kid. I am a video editor, TTRPG performer, transcriber, streamer, and stream technician. You could find me over on this Sunday doing being a guest on Total Party Kiss Tragedy of Theologian. I am playing my paladin Zaya, who is in a tournament right now and could kill some people. Who knows? Otherwise, you can find me throughout the week streaming on my own channel or being over on G Game Nights on Thursday for a D&D X Good Society game, Elegance and Vigilance. We haven't played in a while just because of some schedule complications, but that should be returning this Thursday. And I don't got anything on Fridays anymore. But yeah, that's about it. Maybe you'll see me around for. Oh wait, no, I can talk about this now.
You can talk about this?
I on Fudge, what is it? I gotta bring it up. Oh, I am in a Monster Hearts game. That is. Where is it? It was just announced recently of a Monster Hearts game in which we are doing it kind of like Love Island. I have to give in my character. Oh, Blood Island. It's called Blood Island. It is a Monster Hearts live stream. We're single, we're hard, we're ready to mingle on the world's greatest monster dating reality TV show. That is starting June 12th at 6 p.m. EST over on Omniverse. Omniversalent.
Awesome.
Yes.
And next up, Wasa.
G'day everyone, thank you for watching. My name is Wasa. I am a writer, so I wrote for Sina Una both the module and the adventure that is coming out soon, hopefully. There are things in the works that I am going to be partaking in, but those are currently under the House of NDA. You can find me on Twitter, Wasabotte, WASABOTTE. And yeah, thank you very much for having me. And thank you for joining us on this wonderful adventure.
Hell yeah. And Sarah.
Hi, hello. I'm Ozarix Franco, and I played Taru as well as Blake Finn. If you like my face and the words I say sometimes, you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok, all the places at Zero Sarah X Frank Zero, but it sounds cooler to say Ozarix Franco. I do a variety of TTRPG stuff here on Critical Misses and over on 20+1, where I'm a cult leader. As part of Cult EXE, we do deep dives into new systems. We interview indie folks and games. We just wrapped up a Triangle Agency playthrough, which is a phenomenal game that's launching on Kickstarter June 1st. I highly, 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 highly recommend that everyone look into that game because it's baller AF. But yeah, if you want to know where I'm going to be or what I'm doing next, best place to do that is Twitter. And I have loved every second of this game. I have loved looking forward to going to space. Anita, you killed it. You crushed it. I love this cast. I love this crew. And this is a game that will sit with me for a really, really long time. So thank you everybody for being here and being wonderful. I love you guys. Is the
Awesome. And I am Anita, otherwise known as Benita or Critical Misses. This is a TTRPG channel that I run. We were playing Star Trek Adventures, The Lost Frontier. For those of you who don't know, what that is, it's a 2d20 system from our friends over at Modifius. We basically play in the sandbox that is the Star Trek world, and I am the storyteller and game master that sort of guides these folks through that. You can find me everywhere at Panita or at Critical Misses. We have our final round of applications for new games is closing in about 15 minutes. And then we're going to start bringing out casting calls. So feel free to sign up if you want to play in a game. We are an inclusive channel, so we love bringing new voices into the space, and not necessarily in Star Trek things, but in other worlds as well. That's it. That's all. That's me. You can find me everywhere at Panita, at Critical Misses, over on Pluto Cleric's channel on Sundays, over on Modifius's channel on Tuesdays, and on Gen Con TV on Fridays. We're gonna head off on a raid. I think we're gonna go say hello to someone. Is there anybody that's still online? It's pretty late.
Initiative order is live. Let me check on them.
Yeah, do you want to check and make sure they're not also rapping? Because that might be a thing. Are they still around?
It seems like they're still going.
All right, well then we're going to go raid over to the initiative order. We're going to go say hello over there. Again, thank you again for stopping by. Looks like they're playing Tales from the Red Night of the Opera. Let me just actually fix that. Again, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with us this evening. We are going to head out. Y'all take care of yourselves until next time. Live long and prosper. Bye, everybody.
Go boldly forth.
Go forth boldly. See ya. All right. Heading out.
Yeah.